now is we're going to get the lads' picks in the mares' races. So, the mares' hurdle, the mares' chase, and the mares' novice hurdle. And I'm going to go first. I fancy Brandy Love in the mares' hurdle. I strongly fancy Allegory Devassi in the mares' chase. I think she's one of the bankers of the week. And I think Lucia will win the mares' novice hurdle. Mikey Fogarty, mares' hurdle.
Mares hurdle, what's the first three in the betting again?
Honeysuckle, Epatante, maybe not Marie's Rock.
Brandy Love, Echoes and Rain.
Echoes and Rain.
Right start in there, Mikey, unfortunately.
Echoes and Rain, I'd say. Let me see. Honeysuckle.
Will I come back to you?
No.
Will I give you a few minutes?
No, Echoes and Rain for me. Yeah.
Does she definitely not run the
She runs in the. If she settles a bit better, I think she's. I just love to see Honeysuckle win, obviously, but. I'm a bit harsh on Honeysuckle, I'd say. Like, really is. She ran well, like, just maybe. I'll go with Honeysuckle. Yeah. Oh, and the other one, what mares?
Right. So mares heard what you're going with Honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Mares novice,
Okay. Mares. I'll tell you what, Mikey, we'll come back to you, right? Because this isn't great television now, to be honest. Right, Dean, we're going to kick off with you, which I should have done initially to give Mikey time to realise what we're doing here.
Sure.
Mares hurdle.
Yeah, hopefully Honeysuckle does it. That's what we all want to see. It would be great. I'd love it if she'd gone to the champion, but I can understand why they've done it.
Will she win this?
If Marie's Rock gets out of the way and heads to the stairs, she'd have to win it, wouldn't she? I think, yeah.
Okay, Mares Chase.
You said Allegory Devassi is one of the best bets.
Yes, I think she'll beat Impervious.
Not a hope. No. We always latch on to something on the Racehour early season, and obviously.
I heard.
Yeah, so we're Impervious
big
fans.
Impervious fans.
So we've been backing her since she was like 14s, and all she's done is just keep going the right way.
You got a good price, but we'll be collecting.
No, I think we're great. But we have the option to save on Allegory Devassi at those prices. I'm not going to.
Okay,
no,
you should.
Absolutely not. Impervious is a certainty, and then there's Luckier should be in the Supreme, I would say, but Lucia.
Are you Mikey Fogarty? Luckier.
Well, you can send it down to him and see what he thinks, but
Lucia.
Yeah. Okay. Should be in the Supreme.
What?
Should be in the Supreme.
Should be in the Supreme.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I just think that's what these races do to this meeting.
I know that.
We don't want to go back there.
No, I know.
Should be in the Supreme.
Yeah.
We'd have a good chance, I think.
But will she win the mares hurdle?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Honeysuckle, Impervious, and Luckia.
Correct.
Also called Lucia. Jamie, mares hurdle.
Honeysuckle, if any one of those other horses had run that race in the Irish Champion Hurdle, they would be shorter than Honeysuckle would be for this, and she's a multiple Champion Hurdle winner.
We do judge her harshly, don't we?
Yeah, completely. No, I think she's a cracking bet even, not only just to like this winner. Then Lucia.
Mares Chase?
Mares Novice Hurdle, Lucia, certainty. And then Mares Chase, I'm actually going to take a couple of flyers against Allegory Devassi because she jumped right last time, notably. And I'm going to go with Magic Days, who I think might just be learning her job a bit better now. She's near enough double figure price. And she was impressive last time. And on the line through Dino Blue, which admittedly would be a bit, you can't really rely on Dino Blue that much. It puts her on a par with Impervious. So Magic Days, and then maybe they might, if she hasn't quite learnt her job well enough and they do go off a proper clip, then it probably brings LMA into it, because ultimately she wants all of the 2 mile 4 and maybe further, and she'll be ridden quietly at the back. So maybe LMA to pick up the pieces, but Magic Days I think are double figures.
Diarmuid, your 3 mares fancies. Mares hurdle.
Mares hurdle, obviously we'll be cheering on Honeysuckle. We were the Honeysuckle.
But not if you back something else now.
I like. No, I still would. To be fair, like we really love her. Like she's done us plenty of turns. But I kind of like she wears it well at 12-1. I think her jumping needs to improve from the last time. Absolutely all out. But I just think she's very, very talented. And at 12-1, I think she's every chance there. Mares Chase, I think Impervious is going to take an absolute world of stopping there. I just think she's brilliant. I think Magic Days really helps her cause as well. She's getting the A to B really well. Allegory Devassi's jumping hasn't been great in my opinion. I think she can improve on that front, and I do think that Impervious will pick it all up. And then for the Mares Novice, I can't see the cheat.
Don, Mares hurdle.
Mares hurdle. I'd love to see Honeysuckle winning it. Like her song, the reception she'd get, it would be phenomenal if she could go and win it. I think
Head though, what does the head
yeah,
say?
I think Queensbrook is overpriced. She was good the last day, and I thought she stuck out it well. She did everything well. I know Brandy Love went to her left, and she does that, and she'd be better left-handed with the first run. So she did everything right the last day. She's got good Cheltenham Festival form as well. She finished third in the Champion Bumper, and she finished second last year behind Marie's Rock in the Mare's Hurdle, which was a big run, especially. And Marie's Rock was only a 5-1 shot for the Stairs Hurdle, so that was a big run. And yeah, I just think 10 or 12-1, she's underrated.
Queensbrook, Mare's Chase.
Mare's Chase, I agree with Jamie on Magic Days. I mean, she's a mare that I do follow, but she ran a massive race in the Mare's Novices Hurdle a couple of years ago when she finished second behind her stable companion, Tell Me Something Girl. She was free and keen that day up in the van. It was a race, and it almost always is a race in which you have to be held up and come from behind, and she still kept on well enough to finish second. She was very good the last day in beating Dino Blue, and it was over 2 miles, but you know, she's a tear away. And you think, oh, she wants as short a trip as she can have. But actually, she does keep on going. Like, Dino Blue came up to her the last day, and she stays on well. So it's going to be interesting to see her stepping up in trip, I think, if she does to 2.5 miles. And again, another mare I think is underrated. And in the Mare's Novices Hurdle, I think A Lot of Joy is interesting. She's got a flat rating of 96. She's had her 2 runs, got beaten over hurdles, but she won well the last day. And maybe just her class will out. And again, she's a decent price.
Yeah, absolutely. A Lot of Joy does have a big chance in the Mare's Novice Hurdle. David, please tell me you fancy Allegory Devassi.
No, I'm impervious. Yeah, I think she jumped. Her jumping is very good, but it's not Cheltenham jumping. It's Thurles getting an easy lead or Punchestown, something like that. I don't think she's going to get it.
Who?
All her own way. Allegory Devassi.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Impervious just looks more the finished article for me. She's like a handicapper already. So for me, it's probably on ability. I'd probably go with Allegory Devassi, but I think Cheltenham is going to catch her out and it's going to be competitive. So impervious for that. And
Mare's Hurdle.
the Mare's Hurdle, I can't see Honeysuckle being beat. To be honest, I think it's a distance betting race. To be honest. Yeah, I thought maybe Gretsch, who owned Brandy Love, that's probably his best bloodstock decision so far was to sell her. Brandy Love, she looked like her legs were tied together coming up the straight the other day in Punchestown. And that's why I couldn't fancy Queensbrook either. She's just been a letdown. I know she was second in it last year maybe, but no.
And are you completely against Brandy Love?
Yeah, completely.
Why?
I thought her 4 legs looked tied together the other day in Punchestown, and there obviously is some problem.
She cut out quickly, didn't she? Come on, last year.
It didn't look healthy to me anyway.
But they said like they needed her to run because she was so far behind.
They said the same about Annie Power and she bolted up.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then the Mare's Novice Hurdle, Lucia will be hard to beat. I don't fancy Astro Diamond. I don't know how genuine she is. I thought she was coming to win the Royal Bond, and her head just went up. She done the same when she won with Danny. She jinked at the back of the last. I'm just not 100% sure how genuine she is, and at 7-2, I don't think there's much value in it for her. I actually fancy Princess Zoe.
Oh.
Tony Mullins trains very similar to Paddy Mullins. If they win a maiden hurdle first time out, you know, they must be fairly alright. I think they want to improve a lot for jumping.
She jumped well as well. Like
She jumped okay. She ran into a few of them, ran a bit keen, which I don't think Danny was expecting. I'd say he'd be expecting it a bit more in Cheltenham. She made her respect her hurdles a bit more now. So for me, at the prices, she can gallop, and I think she'll jump a lot better.
It would be some story, wouldn't it?
Surely would.
So that is Princess Zoe for David Mullins in the Mare's Novice Hurdle. Right, Mikey, you've had time to think about it now. Mare's Hurdle.
Honeysuckle, yeah.
Mare's Chase.
And I'd if there was one horse I'd love to see win, and it'd be Impervious for Hayes and Colin Murphy. Yeah, I think hopefully Hayes is right, or really now that if Mark Walsh doesn't. And yeah.
You think she'll beat Allegory Devassi?
Yeah, I just think she's a better jumper, and no, my heart is ruling my head, so it'll be a toss of a coin. But Colin Murphy, he's a freak. Like he really does think the world of this mare, and you know he doesn't usually think like that. You know, so she went to Gelling the last day, and I'm going. I think she will. I've never seen Algegurzi Vassi, whatever she's called, Algegur the Vassi.
Where is she running?
She could be running in Cheltenham when I get the name right, but I've never seen her having to really battle to win a race, and I hate backing a horse in Cheltenham that's always had the race won like like turning in, you know. And
She had the battle to beat Brandy Love last year in various. I know Brandy Love jumped
Brandy
out to her
Love,
left, but
Jesus.
yeah.
still had the battle.
True. Yeah, I just love the way the mare battled and beat Journey with Me.
Okay.
And Shantou is one of my favourite sires. They just never stop. And then
Mare's Novice Hurdle.
I give Princess Dawn each race week with I don't know, Nikki, the Lucia thing. Lucia, Nikki's is meant to be a weapon, so I'll go with that.
Okay. That is the Mare's Hurdle, the Mare's Chase, and the Mare's Novice Hurdle. Now, handicaps. Right, Mikey, we leave you to last here. Do a bit of study in there. A bit of last minute crabbing. This is like what he said.
Sitting down the end of the table.
So this is like before your biology leaving cert exam. Do a bit of study in there for the last 5
I meant
minutes.
to do it.
Whatever Willie or
No, I'm not coming to you yet. You have time to study. Right. We're going to go from left to right. Okay, Dean, your handicap fancies for the Cheltenham Festival are?
Yeah, I have a few.
Yes.
So I'll go as quick as I can. In the old
Take
team,
as long as you want.
in the old team, I really like Beauport.
Ultima?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Ultimate.
Yeah, it's the ultimate.
Yeah, what?
Not on the host of the Racehour, it's not.
Okay.
It's old team. So yeah, I really love Beauport for this. Nigel Twiston Davies.
Beauport, okay.
Yeah. Jordan Naylor always keeps her eye. He's going to have a great time with this, I think, round here over a proper trip. It's run into Ballygriffin Cottage, ran into the real whacker. I think it's on 143, which looks spot on for it. I think it's just going to thrive here. I'm a little bit concerned about the ground. It's not going to suit many horses. Don't get the chance to run on this. So hopefully, day one there'll be plenty of water put on. I think it's up to the clerk of the course there to deliver for that. So I'll be hoping that they do. I think Beauport's a really good bet for the old teamer. I back Camprond in the Coral Cup.
Okay.
Pretty much did it immediately once I'd seen it jump a fence, thinking they're never going to continue with that. And so yeah, I can see that going off very short. I think they've managed to get it down to 138. You would be a little concerned that the form looks terrible, but I'm sure there's only one race in mind. You remember last year it would have won, I think, but the biblical rain came.
Yeah, fourth in the Coral Cup, won a Punchestown.
When it won a Punchestown, exactly. And I think if he's right, that will win the Coral Cup. In the Grand Annual, I was gutted last year about Andy Dufresne not winning, but he's not going to be missing the market this time around.
Same mark this year.
Yeah, exactly, but he probably got a favourite. But Unexpected Party, I thought was an interesting horse for the plate, but looks like they're committed to the Grand Annual, right? So that's where they're going to go. I think they've probably got a few pounds up their sleeves for the Skeltons. I thought he's been gently getting the hang of things over fences, if that's fair. Double figures, I think you're a fan of his, DJ, so Unexpected Party in the Grand Annual was interesting. What Gordon Elliott has done with the Boss's Oscar for the Pertemps looks so obvious. They completely messed up the mark 2 years ago when he was beaten by Mrs. Milner in the race, and then I think it was fifth to Indefatigable in the boys' race in the Martin Pipe. Got a terrible ride that day. It's really difficult for the jockeys to get that one right. Just very unlucky. Now up to 142 plus tax. I don't know what mark it got. Anyone know?
What's the horse?
Boss's Oscar.
Right in a second, go on.
So 142 plus tax, as I'm calling it. I think it's the only horse I like for the Pertemps. I can imagine that it will get it done this time. How many? Three, yeah, that'll win. So then the festival, the festival plate, Il Ridotto, I'm a big fan. Harry Cobden was perfect on the last day. I thought absolute poetry. So I give that one a big chance. Also thought that could have gone in a couple of other options, but they're going for the plate, so that makes sense. For on the tote, I'll be doing Elixir de Nuts, Il Ridotto, and Iron Maximus for the tri-cast there.
Jeez, you're going to retire then?
Well, hopefully, that's always a good plan. I definitely have that one. And I think there's only really one more that I wanted to mention. That was Royal Thief. I don't know if anyone saw what that did after 2 years off for Gigginstown and Henry de Bromhead at Punchestown, where it put Fakira away. Looked like it only just joined in. I thought it was a sensational run. I imagine that's going for the Kim Muir. I think it's still double figures. You'd worry a little bit about a bounce, but if I'd given it plenty of a break, I think that's a very good chance in that race. And in the county, I was waiting to see what Spirit of Legend got for the, not in the county, sorry, in the Martin Pipe, Spirit of Legend got for the Martin Pipe. I think you lads told me it got £8, so that'll definitely run. I think it'll go well. Wasn't off a yard the other day at Fairyhouse.
Can't say things like that.
Handicapper agree, give it £8.
What is your strongest fancy in the handicaps? Out of all of them?
Boss's Oscar, I think.
Boss Oscar in the Clans final?
I think so, yeah.
Jamie Benson, your handicap list, please.
So I've stuck mainly to the hurdles, just because that's where I think the more likely Ricks are. And my main fancy would be Common Practice in the Boodles. I spoke about him briefly earlier. Loads of form with all the top Irish juveniles. and all of it in sort of near enough graded companies. So I think, and then the other day, Brendan Powell could not have been more bullish about Common Practice. I was desperately trying to find out where Nazareth was going, and he was like, "Don't worry about Nazareth. Common Practice wins the
Is this
Boodle."
on or off the record?
Oh Jesus, it's on the record now.
Oh, now,
No,
yeah.
what, originally?
Oh, off. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh no, I'm a sieve. I'm a nightmare to talk to. Don't talking of nightmares to talk to. I was at dinner the other night with Tony Martin, and he put up Good Time Johnny in the Potemps. So although you can't really take it as gospel, it was noteworthy that he didn't mention Zandabad in the Fred Winter, who I always thought was the plot job for that. He's just a 300 grand Aga Khan horse that I know they've been lining up for a plot, but he's jumped like a fridge so far over hurdles, so he's been a bit disappointing. If he was to get in, he'd have a sneak in the Boodles, but in the Potemps, Good Time Johnny, he's a big old price at the moment, 33 to 1, and he's, I think, 11, 12 pounds higher than when he won at Leopardstown at Christmas one year, and he was third in the same race behind Maxim last time. And he's only a couple of pounds higher for that, so he's interesting. Nicky Henderson was so unbelievably bullish about Steeler March, less so about the horse, more so because he's desperate to have a winner for the King, of all things. So I think he has been planning that for a little bit. So if you did fancy him, I wouldn't put you off.
Right trainer, wrong horse, go on.
Yeah, well, I know. Walking, I won't spoil your certainty, but I don't think it's a secret to Racehour listeners that I'm a massive fan of Spirit Legend in the Martin Pipe, but he's been given 8, which is massive. But he'll run off 137, and ultimately, if I think he's good enough to win off 133, then ultimately 137 shouldn't stop him. And I think the hustle and bustle of that race won't be a bother for him. The strong pace he'll get and staying 2 mile forward will be perfect. And then I also like Royal Thief in the Kimia. He won with any mount in hand last time, and Paddy rode him that day. I'm assuming he'll probably ride one of Willie's in the Kimia, but if he were to ride Royal Thief, he could go off near enough favourite, I'd say.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And your strongest fancy of all the handicaps is?
Common Practice in the Boodles.
Common Practice in the Boodles. Diarmuid, the floor is yours.
Comprond, Cora Cup, first of all, 138, looks very obvious. A bit of JP plotting there, but it's... you prefer even if he had one decent run this season. I'm not sure whether he's either well handicapped or he's just gone way off the boil. That's my concern with him. In the county hurdle, I think Winter Fog's not out of this, even if it is off 152. Kieran O'Callum, he's still claiming 7, is he? I think he is. But anyway, yeah. So like that horse would affect me.
Big old mark to 152.
Yeah, he's running off 145. With that, I mean, he'd strike me as always has that he just wasn't a stayer in the Pertemps last season. He was bought. You bought him, didn't you? Yeah. Fremit. But he just wasn't a stayer last season. But like Brian Hayes put him up last week on the bookmakers.com article and said that he just thinks he's full of speed at home. Something like that race staying on. It also would like First Street in that race as well. But again, 152. If Nathan Brennan was claiming 7 pounds off him, he wasn't far off State Man last season at all. In the Pertemps, I like the same horse as you, Dave. So I'll leave that for you. In the Martin Pipe, I like two very much so. Cool Survivor, first of all, he's definitely going the right way of 140 for Gordon Elliott. But the other one that I really like is I really like this horse, is the Capo Glory, who'll be running in the Martin Pipe of 139 for Podrick Butler. This horse is just in the could be anything category. First run won really well at Gorham Park, beating Caldwell Diamond. Second run, his second ever run over hurdles, he was third with El Fabiolo in a grade 1 at the Punchestown Festival. Like, that's unbelievable form for a mark of 139. He's only about 7 lengths behind El Fabiolo that day. Travelled in brilliantly. And then missed a bit of this season, but his first run back ran 4th behind Fidor and Sharjah. And he was jumping left. So obviously going to go to Cheltenham, that just would not have suited the last day. So 139 for the Capo Glory is just very interesting. Podrick Butler, a really, really young up-and-coming trainer. He's very interesting there. And then over fences, I like Dino Blue in the Grand Annual off 140. I think that's a very good mark for her. And then in the Ultima, one of my bigger bets at the moment is Lord Accord in the Ultima off 137. I think he's an absolutely huge chance. I was also not happy, obviously poor Richie McClernand's injured, but the first thing he said in his interview that he was talking about being injured was how gutted he was to be missing the Ryan and Lord Accord in the Ultima. Now, not that Richie, unfortunately at the moment, would have loads of rides, but he's a brilliant jockey, and you know, for him to mention that first off the cup, he's a horse that I've always liked. And Neil Mulholland has previous in this, but to just preempt your next question, the Capo Glory would be my biggest bet in the handicaps.
There you go.
There you go.
Doing my job for me. There you go. The Capo Glory in the Martin Pipe, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Diarmuid
25 to
Nolan.
1, yeah.
Some very interesting insight there. Don, the handicaps.
Handicaps, Biker in the Boodles, Fred Winter Hurdle. I just thought he ran a really nice race the last day in
Nice.
Naas, in a race that has been a really good pointer to the
Yeah.
Fred Winter.
last
As
5
you know,
winners.
Aramax and Band of Outlaws in Brazil, they all won it, and went on and won the Boodles, the Fred Winter Hurdle. So Biker only finished third behind Sir Alan, but it was a really nice run. He was rated 76 on the flat when he was at Richard Hannon. He's got a rating of 124 now. I don't know what he's got from Britain, but I presume a few pounds
More
more.
handicap man here on the
But hopefully not too many more pounds than that, 124. Charles Burns trains him. In the Ultima, I think Oscar Elite is interesting. He's a second season chaser. He ran in the race last year, he finished third. He's a spring horse. He won the Reynoldstown Chase the other day. Now, it was only a 3-horse race, but he won it well. He beat a 140 odd rated horse into second. He's a coming horse. He got £4 for that. He's 139 now. He's only four pounds higher than he was last year. He goes well at Cheltenham as well. He ran a massive race in the Albert Bartlett Hurdle as a novice hurdler. So I think he's interesting in the Ultima.
That's Oscar
travelled like
Lee.
the winner last year as well, didn't he?
Oscar Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ran from £4 out of the handicap last year.
And he travelled like the winner. £4 your Fred Winter horse.
£4, so what? 128?
Yeah.
Yeah, grand. Perfect. And then 2 from Gordon's yesterday. Ascari at 10. Interesting, he says he's going to drop him down and trip to go for the plate, which, like for a horse who ran in the National Chase and ran in the Grand National, didn't get home from the second last, ran in the T&Cs Chase twice, didn't get home from the third last. It's interesting dropping down and trip to 2 miles 5 for the plate off mark 150. And Dunboyne, Gordon says he goes for the Kim Muir. 139. He ran a massive race in the T&Cs this year, was only just beaten, and he seems to be a progressive horse. He's shown a few quirks in the past, but he seems to have it all together now, and I think he's interested in the Kim Muir.
Beautiful. And your strongest fancy in the handicaps is?
Probably Biker in the Fred Winter.
Biker in the Fred Winter, round about an 8 to 1 shot, I think. David Mullins, handicaps.
2 of my horses have been mentioned already, Biker and Winter Fog. Biker being the best bet of them, I'd say. It was good to notice that Philip Enright was riding them in Naas instead of Philip Burns. I think that could be.
I think he was suspended, was he? I think he might have been suspended for the
The
first.
road blaze and Cal the next day.
Yeah, I think it was off for a day.
Interesting. I think it fit very well.
I think you know what he means there.
Yeah, you were picking up on that. Yeah.
Winter Fog in the county, I think he's all speed as well. He's by paper gold.
And 152 you think is okay, yeah?
Yeah,
Claiming 7 anyway.
yeah, I think so, yeah. It's a race you don't really need to worry about ratings when Willie Mullins trains them, I think.
Arctic Fire won at
Fair point.
154.
Fire, Wicklow, Brave.
But is this horse up there in that calibre, like, yeah?
Not really, but no, not that far up. But claiming 7, and he's probably rated about £10 lower than him, is he? So I don't think he's £20 off him anyway.
Okay.
Dad's Lad in the Grand Annual. I think that's been a plan for a good while, maybe. Could be wrong, but I thought that was the reason he went over to Cheltenham at the start. And the Goffer in the Ultima, I think he runs, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a horse I like. Hador he got beat by Hador in Fairyhouse. And he hasn't enough runs to get into a handicap in Cheltenham, I don't think, over fences. But he's another one to keep an eye on. I think could put it up.
That's Hador, owned by Susanna and Rich Ritchie. And your strongest fancy is Biker, is it, in the handicaps?
Yeah.
Excellent. Mikey, you've had a good 15 minutes now to do a bit of homework. How'd you get on?
I done a little bit. Wouldn't be big on the handicaps, but that So Scottish I see is in the plate there. I think Sir Paul or Emmett's like they've done well when they've been sold on. So I'd imagine he might be well handicapped enough to run well in it. And maybe would is Langer Dan?
Martin Pipe.
Is he in the Martin Pipe?
Yep.
I just looked down to the Martin Pipe. There's nothing jumping out at me there, Willie's wise, like this year. Or Gordon's. I see cool survivors in it, but he was dropped in there to run well. You know, mightn't be good enough, maybe good enough, but Langerdine is a classy enough horse and would be, if I was having a bet in the handicaps, it'd be in the Martin Pipe be him, but I'd probably stick with So Scottish.
So Scottish in the Irish craft whiskey plate, I think. So Scottish is your strongest fancy. Just in the handicaps, a couple that I like. My strongest fancy of the entire week is Walking on Air in the Pretemps final. Won a qualifier at Exeter last time off 133. He bolted up. He only got one crack by Nico. Only went up £5, which I thought was extraordinary. Runs off 138. He'll be carried 11.6 or so. I think he's got a massive chance Walking on Air. He's out of Walk in the Park and Refinement. Refinement was just beaten in the Mayor's Hurdle at Cheltenham, owned by the Tabors, and I think he's still really unexposed over this trip. Walking on Air. It's been a gradual process getting him up to 3 miles. Brilliant jumper, and 138. I think he's much better than that. He was 10-1 a couple of days ago. I think that's really good value. There's still 10-1 in one spot. So I think Walking on Air has got a massive chance in the Pretemps final. I like Happy Go Lucky in the Ultima. Was second in the race 2 years ago. Went on to win at Aintree. I thought he ran really well against Long Press in the rehearsal chase at Newcastle, and then went and ran on New Year's Day at Cheltenham over 2.5 miles, which isn't his bag. He made an early mistake, but I think Happy Go Lucky has got a massive chance. He's still unexposed over fences. In the Martin Pipe, look, I've said for probably 2 years now that I think the best handicapped horse in training is Might Eye. He obviously should have won probably the last day at Cheltenham, but that was 2 mile 1 in the new course. He's got the perfect rating of 145. I don't think he's too far off a grade 1 horse, to half brother to Statler. Lorca Murta, who rides him all the time, will be able to ride him in the Martin Pipe, and I think 2.5 miles new course Cheltenham is made for Might Eye. This could be his day, but look, I'm broke back and I still think he's a very good horse. Just 2 other ones in the county hurdle. I fancy Pembroke for Dan and Harry Skelton. Travelled really well over 2.5 miles the last day, just got outstayed. I think he's more of a speed horse, and I think the new course will suit him in the county hurdle. And another horse with Paul Nolan's. You guys like Biker in the Boodles. Metamorphosis is 33-1. I actually like the way he ran in that race at Naas, which has thrown up the Boodles winner for the last 5 years. He's a brilliant jumper, and I just thought they crawled and then it turned into a sprint. He'll be much better suited to a faster pace. 33-1 about Metamorphosis, I think, is too big of a price. But my strongest fancy in the handicaps and my strongest fancy of the week, and will be my charity bet, is Walking on Air in the Pretemps final. So all that's left to do now, folks, is reveal our charity bets for the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. So we have 50 quid, thanks to tote.co.uk, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 50 quid. It says 50 quid there.
I put it on the board.
Yeah, confirm.
Perfect. Brilliant.
So let's see what we can do. Okay, let's go with the charity bets. We usually have a decent enough record here. Thinking back a few years ago, I think we got 4 out of the 7 up, I think, and maybe 3 last year, was it? Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, Mikey, the best bet of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival and your €50 charity bet is... Do you want a bit of time now?
No, Impere Pass in Ballymore.
Impere Pass in the Ballymore. What price are we giving, Jamie?
Oh, Jesus.
Are you giving enhancements?
I was going to go Tote SP, the Tote Dividend, but
Yeah, it's going on the Tote.
yeah.
Let's go on the Tote Dividend.
Okay.
Yeah. There'd be a bigger price on the day than it is now.
I'm right in saying best price guaranteed on the...
Well, 4-1.
Yeah, you'll either get the SP or the Tote Div, whichever's bigger, but the Tote Div would be bigger probably
so
than that.
Mikey Fogarty's charity bet is Impere Pass in the Ballymore. David Mullins.
Shambally Kid in Albert Bartlett.
Nice.
I think we could have 2 Shambally kids. Shambally Kid, the Albert Bartlett Curty, a 20-1 shot. Donn McClean. Now, when Don came in, I asked him what's his charity bet. First question, he says, I don't know. He's had roughly 2.5 hours to think about it. What have you come down on the side of Don?
Gentleman the May.
Jeez. Good shout.
Yeah, I think he's
Gentlemen, the
overpriced.
May. I'd say just give the 50 quid to charity there. Jamie? Actually, I shouldn't be doubting you. You're the godfather tip, and I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's a good
Right. Diarmuid Nolan.
I was Shambally Kid.
You can still be Shambally
Yeah, I was
Kid.
Shambally Kid. Yeah.
What would your second choice
Go on
be?
then.
Marine National.
Okay. So Shambally Kid for Diarmuid Nolan. For our sponsor himself, Jamie Benson.
I'm going to go with Colonel Mustard in the County Hurdle. I've got a small ownership in him, and he's only rated 143.
Is he not running in the
He's
Moor battle.
he's running the Moor battle, but if he were to win the Moor battle, he
Gets the bonus then,
he would get 5, and then we'd probably claim off him to get the 5 back. So he's running off 143
Are you
regardless.
claiming off him on Saturday? I
No.
tipped him up and up in the ante today.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
For
no.
Saturday, no?
No, I haven't spoken to Lorna about jockey books. I imagine Dara will be on him, but I haven't figured
That's
out.
good
Is
for
that
him.
chap alright after the weekend? You got some fall at the last. Dara
It's
O'Keefe.
unbelievable fall.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Is he alright? He's
Yeah, he
alright.
was.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think
I
he
don't
was
know if
fine,
he's
yeah.
alright. I think
Really?
he could have got.
It was
slightly-
Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, at the last, yeah.
It was some fall. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I was at it.
Yeah,
the last.
Horrible. Okay, so you're going Conan and Mustard in the
County
Hurdle. Dean Ryan.
Yeah, Time Hill in the Brown Advisory.
Time Hill in the Brown Advisory, and I am walking on air in the Pretemps final. I'd like a bit of that 10-1 rather than the Tote SP because I think you go on favourite. But
Just as long as it wins, DJ.
as long as it wins,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are our charity bets. The lads are on Snapchat. But
Before we wrap, DJ,
Oh.
I just want to say it's a big thank you for the Tote for sponsoring us all
Absolutely.
year, not just tonight.
don't be stealing my notes.
No, I know you were going to get there, but all year, not just tonight. They've been
Yeah.
a big supporter of ours this year, which has been great for the Racehour. Thanks for everyone, obviously, for coming and listening to us during the year. But I do want everyone to have a go at this Tote Fantasy game. Jamie actually created this.
Yeah.
And
So
it's-
tell people about the Tote Fantasy.
Oh geez, I'll keep it short because we all want a pint. But basically, it's like a mix between fantasy football and a placepot. You pick one horse in each of the 7 races of the day. You pay £7 or €8 to enter, and you score points across the day. But it's a bit like fantasy football. You have a set budget. You can't have all the favourites. So it's about picking which favourites you're with, which ones you're against. You get a stable start to score you double points. You have a steward's inquiry to boost your horse to finishing position. It's more of a game than it is a bet, but you can still win big.
Somebody's betting for like €8.
It's a whole day's betting, and there's a big prize for first, and it's profit to the top 25%. So
It's a fantastic initiative, in
We are
fairness.
crying out for innovation in this sport, and there
Yep,
is some.
absolutely.
Some going on. So-
Absolutely. So
Love it. Love it,
have a
lads.
look out
Thanks.
for the Tote Fantasy competition on each day of the Cheltenham Festival, obviously.
running every day at the Cheltenham Festival.
Every day
If
of
anyone
the
wants a
Cheltenham
cap,
Festival.
come find me. I'm standing out the back of my car.
So there we go. Our thanks to Jamie Benson from the Tote.co.uk and to bookmakers.com for their continued sponsorship. 5 years, it's always a great laugh, and there's always plenty of nuggets to take out from it. So our thanks to our panel: Mikey Fogarty, David Mullins, Donn McClean, Diarmuid Nolan, Jamie Benson, Dean Ryan. I've been David Jennings. Thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and most importantly, have a very profitable Cheltenham Festival.